Hi, I'm Deanna Lamson
And I'm Christina True
from Imaginisce, and we're back to show you some fun tips and techniques using the iTop tool. And you'll be amazed the things that you can do with your iTop. So I'm going to share a couple right now. And Christina, I don't know if you have noticed how when you make a brad or a badge with the tool, sometimes there's a little bit of almost like a hexagon sort of edge to it.
Yes.
Which I think looks fine, but some people really want to get as smooth of a look as they can. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And the way you do that is by moistening your topper. The secret is a wet wipe, which everybody has. You can get them real easily. Okay, and so I'm just going to put this wet wipe out, and you get your backer, your topper, and you put it in there and you just kind of press. Now some wet wipes are going to be really wet when you first open them up, so you kind of want to test it out. You don't want to get it too wet. But you will know that it's just right when you tap on it like that, and it just feels much more pliable. Can you see how that kind of holds its shape a little bit? So when you put it into your iTop here, let's just put a shell on here, and we'll hold that in place. It just folds those edges so nicely. So let's just, of course it's going to bend before I ever can get it in there. Okay, there we go. We're just going to lightly press that in. Now, I want to show you another little tip for getting the edges really smooth. I guess I'm just going to put the back in so I can show you the whole thing. Okay, so we're going to put our backer in here. And last time we told you not to push too hard, just a gentle click is all it needs. Okay, so let's pull this out. Now after you have, that actually is really nice and smooth, but what I'm going to do is make it even better by just rolling it on a hard surface like that. And it just makes that edge so nice, yeah, on anything. Okay, can you see that? It looks great.
So I have some great tips if you want to incorporate flowers. Now with the brad, it's obviously really easy because most flowers have a center hole that you can just stick those little legs through.
Or you can just poke it through if it's fabric or something.
Exactly. But with a magnet or a badge, you don't really have that surface to do that with. So say we wanted to add a flower to the back of one of these magnets, it's simply just a process of putting it in between the shell and your backer. So it works really easy. First thing I like to do is take a glue dot and put it on the center of my magnet, and you put it right on the magnet itself. And so once you've got that there, then that will also help to hold your flower in place. Now when you're using flowers, you can use any type of flower. Paper flower, different sizes, different textures, that part doesn't matter. So you hook that right down. Now the next thing we want to do is work on our shell. So we just pull and swivel out this head. Center our shell right there on the face, and I love your little tip of holding that when you swivel this around.
And when you're doing the shell, it's the same as any of the backers because that's going to be the same each time.
The shell's always the same no matter what backer you're using, so that works really nice. Then all we got to do is take our little punched piece here and slide it in there. And just try and center it on. Now once you've squeeze this down, it's nice to kind of mush in those edges and make sure that they...
And that also helps you to remember to pull that rubber part forward and make sure that that's...
Yeah, that was one of our other good tips that we showed, that that rubber really does need to be pulled all the way up if you want to have a successful brad topper. Or magnet topper, or badge topper.
Or badge topper.
Okay, so once we've got that all ready, we're ready to take our magnet piece. And again, we want the flower side up, or where the magnet is. Now, when you turn this, it's nice to kind of hold some of these petals down because they have a tendency to want to creep back in there. I like to just switch it over and then straighten out.
That guy snuck in. Get out of there.
Yep.
Get out, get out. There we go.
Yep, and then you can just give it another nice little squeeze. You heard that little click?
I heard that pop, yeah.
And then you can...
It's going to be good, I can tell already.
You can just pull this on out. Now for the first minute, your little petals are going to want to sneak back, but once you bring it up here and put it on your board, you'll have a darling
so cute
little magnet.
That's very cute, I love that.
Fun. Now I have one more really cool tip.
Okay.
So I've got my cute little badge here. I love my iTop. Well, I don't know if you've seen, but on a lot of the ones that we've been demoing or different projects we've shown, you can see how it's nice and shiny. And that's a super easy thing to do. Now, sometimes it can just happen based on, you know, whatever kind of paper you have, or if you're using like a photo paper. Tendency with photo paper is it's really thick.
It's a little hard to get a smooth edge on
Exactly. So if you wanted to just use a regular, you know, inkjet paper or any type of paper, you can take some of this diamond lacquer glaze and put it right on the top.
You know what's nice about this too, Christina, is that it makes it a little more durable. It's almost
Yeah.
like laminating a surface so that it's
Exactly.
not quite so easy to get dirty or to
And I
rip or
love the
things like
sheen.
that.
It
Yeah,
just
that's
looks so
pretty.
pretty. So all I do is just take a dab of this diamond lacquer glaze here, put it on, and then just use my finger.
No fancy brushes for you, huh?
No, takes too much time, extra cleanup. And once that's done, you can just set it aside to dry.
Okay. Wow! And it just takes a few minutes. You don't have to leave it too long.
Yeah, not too long.
Oh, that's great. Perfect. If you're working with fabric and you're trying to cover a magnet or a badge or a brad, because these techniques work with any of the backers, then there's a little template that you can get and trace a circle, but we found it's so much faster. If you just cut a square of fabric, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just about a 2-inch square works just fine, and I will show you what we're going to do with that. Let's rotate this around here. Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm going to put my shell on here and put my fabric on. Let's turn this first. I always forget. I like to turn that first and then slide this in. Okay, now when you press that down, you will notice that you have extra fabric sticking out right there. Then all you do, Christina, is just take your scissors and just snip off the excess here. And you know, on the big shells, you really don't need to trim too much because there's a lot more area for that fabric to hide inside of the shell itself.
Yeah.
But if you're working with a little bit heavier fabric, you're going to need to cut a little bit shorter just so you make sure there's enough room there.
And it's
Okay.
important too to not cut too short that you can't tuck all those little tags in.
You know, and I think that's why this is easier than using the circle, because then you don't have to worry about centering it
Right.
exactly. You know that you're going to have enough to cover that rounded edge. So I can put another back in here.
Well, and I was just going to say on yours real quick too, unlike the paper, the fabric's always going to have a smooth edge.
So let's review what we learned about in today's segment. We learned 4 very cool techniques. First, we learned how to make the edges of our topper nice and smooth. Secondly, we learned how to use fabric and how to cut a simple square to make it really fast and easy. Christina taught us how to put a flower in between the shell and the backer. And then lastly, we learned how to make it shiny and gorgeous and durable. So we hope these are really helpful to you. It makes your iTop so much fun.